and welcome to today's episode of Piano TV. I wanted to show you guys my 10 favorite books at a grade 3 level. I got my stack here. Now, the thing about these books is that they're not all individually at a grade 3 level. A lot of them are collections by composers, and they span a whole bunch of different levels, usually somewhere from early intermediate to more advanced. So there's a couple in here that are simply at a grade 3 level, but otherwise they're pretty diverse. And we're going to talk about all the different categories and stuff like that, and et cetera, et cetera. So let's get started. I'll show you a couple collections to check out, and then we'll go through some individually composed books. We're going to go through all the main categories of pieces at a grade 3 level, which includes List A, Baroque era pieces, List B, which is classical, List C, which is romantic and modern music. And yeah, those are the categories we're going to talk about. We're not going to focus on etudes, because etudes are just quick studies, and they're kind of interwoven into the books I'm going to show you anyway. And then we're not going to talk about pop books in this video, just because there's a lot of really great modern books that aren't necessarily pop books at this level that I like more. So just personal bias playing in there. I've tried to rein in my list to just the essentials, and even 10 books is still a lot. I wouldn't expect you to have 10 books at a grade 3 level. What I expect of my students is to get 2 to 3 books for their chosen grade level. Usually one from each category, just depending on how passionate of a music collector you are. So I would recommend something from the List A, Baroque, something from classical, and something more modern or romantic, just so you have a diverse collection. And this is just one teacher's opinion. Not every teacher out there is gonna maybe agree with this list, but I did try to keep it to what I consider some of the gold standards for the level. Really common repertoire at a grade 3 level, with just a couple maybe slightly more random choices thrown in there. So I've got 2 different collections that I want to talk to you about. So the first set of collections are the official Royal Conservatory books at a grade 3 level. These are really old. I don't think I actually have the new ones, but I have some of the ancient ones. So they might look a little bit different from this. They're still purple though. They still are carrying on the color scheme. So what these books are just a collection of pieces at every category. So there's going to be some Baroque pieces, some classical pieces, and then some more modern and romantic pieces as well. So it curates a list for you. Everything is at a grade 3 level, so you don't really have to think about it. These are really good books if you don't care about having a music book collection and you want something really, really simple and foolproof. Now, I have 2 of them because I would usually recommend that my students get 2. So there's the repertoire, which is the main music, and then there's the etudes. Etudes are just little exercises, and I do quite like the etude books to just practice reading through, spending a week or 2 on each piece and just working on the little techniques inside of them. Otherwise, I don't usually recommend these books to any student who has any interest in building up a music collection, because these don't have as much lasting value. You're not going to go back to these books in the same way that you might go back to a Chopin waltz book or something like that. The other collection that I wanted to show you is the Essential Keyboard Repertoire book, and this is a pretty hefty book with a lot of different music in it. It's huge. And if you want the specific titles and authors, if some of these books interest you, it'll all be linked over on the blog. I'll leave a list of everything so you can use that as a reference. So what I like about this collection is that it has everything from, I don't know how well you can see this, it has everything from preparatory level all the way through grade 5. So it's a really diverse set of pieces, and they're also there's classical pieces, there's Baroque pieces. It spans all the different genres. So a lot of these pieces are quite well known, and you'll see them in the syllabus for the Royal Conservatory. Okay, so let's talk about List A. I have 1 Baroque book chosen. It really is my favorite grade 3 level Baroque book. It is the selections from Johann Sebastian Bach's Anna Magdalena notebook. And I do like this edition by Citzeros. I might be pronouncing that wrong. Again, it'll be all linked over on the blog. But what I like about this book is that it's short. It's an abbreviated collection of the notebook for Anna Magdalena Bach, because there's a ton of music in that collection, and it's kind of daunting. But in this, he just kind of picks the essentials. I think there's 4 grade 3 level pieces. But they go all the way up to a grade 6 or 7 level, I believe. So you can use this book for a few years of training. And yeah, they're just the most popular of Bach's early level pieces. I also really like this edition in particular because it talks about every piece and explains how the trills and the ornamentation works. He gives tempo suggestions for everything. So it's really, it's a really good like book to study from, especially if you don't have a teacher and you're not exactly sure how you should be playing these pieces. So then that takes us to List B, and I have one List B book to show you guys. You're probably sick of me talking about Clementi by now. We've been featuring him a lot on this channel, but this is my Clementi Sonatinas book. There are a whole bunch of different editions that are fine, I think. It's his Opus 36 collection of 6 sonatinas, and they span from grade 3 to, I believe the final one is around a grade 7 level. So they're like intermediate repertoire, and Clementi sonatinas are a great gateway if you're interested in getting into some of the more complicated sonatas by Mozart and Beethoven and Haydn. I try to get every student ever that I teach to, when they're at a grade 3 level, learn his first sonatina in C major, which we featured on this channel, so I'm like trying to force you to learn it as well. But aside from just that sonatina, it's a really good progressive set of exercises to get you more well-versed in classical music. So I always push this book on my students. Okay, so now for the List Cs. This is the category that I find that students enjoy the most because it has a lot of diversity within it. This is where you're going to find everything from like romantic music to jazz music to like basically everything modern and in between. So gotta mention Christopher Norton's Connections Level 3 because I mentioned these in every one of my favorite books videos because I just love his series. He writes music that is like, that sounds great and is fun to play. And I don't think I've met a student who doesn't like his music. There's something for everyone in these books. And it doesn't matter if you're a kid or an adult. I have kids and adults playing pieces from his books and they all seem to like it. So what I like about the Connection series is that it's all the same level. So you get this one book, there's like 20 songs, and they're all at around a level 3. So some of these other collections really vary depending on the piece, but this one is like very consistent throughout it. And yeah, this has everything from swing to lyrical to Latin to character pieces, which are like kind of the more abstract pieces, to like jazz styles to blues. So lots of modern styles, and it's really fun. There really is no composer quite like Bela Bartok. He has a very distinct musical style. Some people really take to his music and other people just hate it. So, I mean, make up your own mind, but I generally encourage my students to give Bartok a try. So his collection for children, book 1 and 2, has a whole bunch of pieces that are in the Royal Conservatory syllabus. So a lot of these pieces you could actually do for your exams if you wanted. And they span in difficulty all the way from grade 2 to grade 8. So there's a ton of music in this collection. They're very abstract. A lot of his music is based on folk music, which is like, you know, folk music is pretty catchy, but his writing style is, well, you'll have to just listen to Bartok. His writing style is very oftentimes dissonant and abstract. I have no better way to say it. But it doesn't have to be for children. It kind of bugs me that these composers of days gone by label their books as for children, album for the young. We're going to look at that one later. And it's not just for kids. It's just mainly for beginners. And some of these aren't even beginner pieces. They're grade 8 level pieces. So if you're an adult, you can still check this out without feeling shame. Then we have Kabalevsky's 24 Pieces for Children. There's another one of those for children. Opus 39. This is a collection that I've talked about in previous videos because there's pieces in here that are at a preparatory level, grade 1, grade 2, and so on. It's a shorter collection than Bartok's. And I know I said Bartok is like really individual and unique, but I actually lump Kabalevsky and Bartok in the same category as European music written at the turn of the 20th century that has kind of an abstract feel to it. Really neat music. You should check out some tunes by Kabalevsky. A lot of them are very short. So if you like short and snappy pieces, there's some really fun fast ones. It's just a good staple collection. And then we have Anne Crosby's In My Dreams. I really like these short little collection books because they're like albums. Musical albums or CDs, except, you know, you have to actually play the music instead of just listening to it. They're short collections. There's like an album's length of music in here. I think there's 10 pieces. And they're all on the theme, the dreamlike theme. So I really like Anne Crosby. She writes music that's approachable and sounds more sophisticated than the level. So everything in here is like basically from a grade 1 to 4 level. Some of them are in the syllabus, and they have like catchy titles like The Stormy Sea and Moonlight on the Water and The Waterfall and etc. So they're very expressive pieces that are meant to convey images. So the next one I want to show you, I don't even know if it's in print anymore, but I have to show you it because I just really like it. It's called Japanese Festival by Yoshinao Nakada. And it is, again, one of those like collection themed album type books. The reason I really like this one, well, there's a couple reasons. There's not a lot of Asian composers featured in Western music, especially in the Royal Conservatory and other exam boards. So it's fresh, and it's just got like, I don't know, a lot of the pieces are really nice. You've probably, well, I don't know why I'm assuming you would know this piece, but there's a piece in here called The Song of Twilight, which is just like super standard grade 3 level piece. It's very beautiful. I love teaching it, and it's like worth it for that piece alone. But it's so, it's such a diverse collection. You have everything from like the weirdest, like there's the gear wheels on a watch, which is just like this very bizarre, fast, distorted sounding piece, and then like this nice slow Song of Twilight and everything in between. So it's just got so much variety, and I like it. And the last book I'm going to show you is another that I consider to be a staple for anyone's music collection. It's Schumann's Album for the Young. And again, with the kid titles, it's not just for young people, and some of these are really, really tough. It spans in difficulty from an early intermediate, the grade 3 level, all the way up to grade 8. And the reason I really like this collection is because there's not a lot of romantic era music that is playable if you are not advanced. I mean, guys like Chopin and Liszt wrote a lot of really awesome music, but they didn't really write music for people who were just starting out. So that's why I really appreciate guys like Schumann. They actually wrote music that is meant to be played by people who are still learning, and they're not yet piano masters. So there's only one piece at kind of a grade 3 level in the official RCM syllabus. There's a few other pieces that would be around that level. They're just not in the syllabus. But I think this is one worth having in your collection because you'll be able to use it for years as you get better and better at music. And it's got some like really cool songs in here. Like The Wild Rider is like exciting. You get The Happy Farmer. Like some of the titles are really adorable. First Sorrow, The Little Morning Wanderer. Anyway, those are my books. I hope you like them. Hopefully this gives you something to look for if you're at or around this level and you're interested in picking up some books, expanding your music collection, building up a beautiful music library. You can tell that that's something that I'm rather keen on, fond of. So anyway, hopefully you got something out of this. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I always appreciate you guys taking the time to watch and comment, and you know, you're just an awesome bunch. Thanks for everyone who helps make these videos possible, and I will catch you guys next time. Can you hear that music in the background? Michael has the day off because there's no school today, so he's like blasting music in the garage and building stuff, being a typical man.